Tonight, in All Systems Go, we've got sequels that aren't really sequels.
And our favorite ways to end the world. All Systems Go starts right now.
Hello everyone, and welcome to All Systems Go, the only show that knows everything about Bionicles.
But hasn't been caught up on Ninjago in years.
I'm Dalen Darwin.
And I'm Darian Von Grayskull. Let's get into it.
Now, childhoods across the nation are getting destroyed as just earlier today, Cartoon Network Studios is no more. Well, not exactly. See, Warner Brothers TV Group has collectively fired 82 employees and 43 open positions from its television staff. That's 125 positions that represented 26% of the company's workforce. Along with this, Chairman Channing Dungey and CEO David Zaslav decided to merge Cartoon Network Studios with the much larger Warner Brothers Animation. This effectively puts Cartoon Network Studios into a limbo with its production, where currently no new shows will be coming out anytime soon. The old shows we all know and love will still be around, but where does that leave the future of animation for the titular network? I guess we'll never find out.
So sad. But in honor of spooky season, we need to talk about a horror movie dropping in December. Now, this isn't your mama's horror movie. It's a parody of the Christmas classic, The Grinch. Now, the plot is similar to the original, where all the citizens of Whoville, which is now called Newville, are all scared of the Grinch. But where the plot really diverges is in what the Grinch actually does. Little Cindy Lou Who, who is now called Cindy You-Know-Who, had her parents murdered by the Grinch and now has to face him alone. David Howard Thornton is cast for the Grinch, and the movie is directed by Stephen Lamort.
Strange. I want a Home Alone hostage movie. I think that'd be interesting. Now, some might say that fan fiction is real fiction. However, this next story disagrees. Bezoos Pictures, a recently founded production company, has announced that they're working on a film adaptation of the best-selling novel, The Love Hypothesis. Now, this novel itself was originally a piece of fan fiction shipping Kylo Ren and Rey from Star Wars, or as the kids call it, Reylo. Turns out, doing the adult equivalent of smashing two dolls together and saying they're kissing could maybe end up making you thousands of dollars. Not where I thought the company would end up.
Now, they say all art is derivative, but I guess this just takes it to the extreme.
Pretty much.
Manga publishing company Shonen Jump has announced the return of its hit series, Hunter x Hunter. Or, do you say the X out loud? I don't know. Whatever. The series began a hiatus back in 2018 when creator Yoshihiro Togashi announced that he would be taking a break due to health issues. Volume 37 will begin releasing on October 27th. So if you're an old fan, you have approximately 14 days, 9 hours, 27 minutes, and 48 seconds to refresh your memory.
Now, everyone, we finally received the sequel to the infamous DashCon ball pit. A poorly designed ball pit foam pit at a recent TwitchCon event has resulted in multiple injuries, with the most notable example of one person who broke her back in 2 different places and required surgery. The pit was closed after multiple injuries, but many people online have been outraged regardless, saying that this shouldn't have been happening in the first place. It's mostly wild how common the threat of disastrous convention seems to be with ball pits. Who passed that? Who allowed this to happen?
I mean,
That's the most.
even if you know the foam pit is going to be dangerous, you can't not jump in it.
That is true. He's not wrong.
Google Japan dropped a new video for a new keyboard. Keyboards are wonderful, but there's not much innovation that can be made at this point that hasn't already been made before. Or so we thought. The new Gboard, called Stick Version, is a keyboard that is almost 5.5 feet long. They lined every key up one long row, but still in the standard QWERTY order. And the alleged reason behind this wacky design is to stretch the arms out all the way during the workday. Now, I'm not sure if I would invest in this, but I'm sure someone will find value in the Stick Version Gboard.
It's definitely different. But up next, we'll take a look at some amazing animals.
And a not-so-amazing game. All Systems Go will be right back.
In this video, David decided to take a look at some amazing animals. Let's check it out.
Hi. Alright, so sorry for that. Also, here's this show. Yeah. Can I tell you that this is British? And it also has a format. Alright, let's get into it. First of all, we start off with the spiel of this green CGI lizard. And then we go to see some stock footage. I don't know where they get that stuff from. Now, here's a staple of the show, where the lizard gives out some report. It's usually full of nonsense, just like me. Yeah. And can I tell you, the CGI, and since this was produced in the late 90s, it kind of looks like Donkey Kong right here. Remember Expand Dom? But at the end of the day, and we do get an award show based on the lizard's personal favorites. Sure. What's your favorite animals? Please let me know in the Discord chat. Strangely, there are no DVD releases of the show, only VHSs. If the show was popular, then why was it only on VHS? Well, actually, it is on YouTube, yes.
A video about Overwatch 2? I bet this won't be complete garbage. Let's check it out.
The first change that they made from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2 is that the game is now a 5v5 instead of a 6v6. My initial thoughts was this allows for more dynamic team fights and more chances for your overall skill to shine through, less relying on your team for plays. The game used to be a 6v6 with 2 tanks, 2 supports, and 2 DPS or damage healers. Now there's only 1 tank on each team, so that means you really have to put in more work as a tank now to protect your team. There are also 3 new heroes that have been added to the game. The first being Sojourn. She's a damage healer and plays a little bit like Soldier 76. She's very mobile and she can do a lot of damage very fast. Primary fire is a railgun that charges up her secondary fire, which is a hit scan blast that can one-shot enemies if you are accurate. One of her abilities throws out a snare that deals damage in an area to enemies caught in its area of effect. Her second ability has her slide really fast and then jump high in the air, which gives her a lot of mobility. And finally, her ultimate has her secondary fire charge up automatically, giving her huge damage potential, again, only if you are accurate. The second hero they added is Junker Queen, who is a buff Australian woman with an axe and a shotgun. She's a tank, but plays like a frontline brawler. Her abilities are more damage-based and close range to apply pressure up close and personal. Her first ability is an axe that swings and does damage and causes bleeding on enemies. This bleed heals Junker Queen for the damage it does to the enemies affected. Bleed also applies to her next ability, which is a knife that you can throw and stick in enemies. When you pull the knife out of an enemy, they get pulled to you. Her final ability increases health and movement speed for a short period of time for her and her teammates. Her ultimate has her charge forward and apply anti-heal, and deals damage to enemies caught in her charge. In my opinion, she is the character I had the most fun playing so far. Her kit in general is just super fun and just a blast to play. And last but not least is Kiriko, the newest support hero added to the game. She's a ninja who can heal her team and also do a lot of damage if you are accurate with her. She can teleport to her teammates, which is one of her abilities. Her other ability is a bell that is thrown on the ground, granting temporary invulnerability to her and her teammates that are in.
After the break, we'll join the cast as they reveal their ideal end-of-the-world scenarios. ASG will be right back.
Welcome back to All Systems Go. Today we're talking about apocalypses, some real nice end-of-days Armageddons. Joining us today to talk about which apocalypse they'd want to live in is Darian, Nathan, Tony, and Eric. How you doing, guys?
Doing pretty well, Brody. How are you doing?
Okay, so I'm gonna go first, and so for my preferred apocalypse, I'd go something kind of like the movie, say Deep Impact or Armageddon. You know, just like asteroid, meteor, something to that effect. Because personally, because either there's a chance you live or a chance the whole world gets wiped out. So I'd rather take the chance that I make it onto some kind of rescue arc. And besides, with the world in mass hysteria, you can practically do whatever.
Okay, but a meteor, there's a chance you could just die immediately.
Yeah, but when you think about it, you can spend your final moments sitting on a beach and enjoying the sweet company of whomever you choose.
Brody defending a bad choice.
See, I would, but instead, like, wouldn't you like to live like in like an apocalyptic world where it's like the world is still like intact and it's like kind of like up for like you're still there and you have like the chances of survival.
So you won't
okay.
die immediately.
Okay.
This is
Exactly.
I think this is more of an apocalyptic scenario
Yeah, it's
as opposed to a post-apocalypse.
It was sort of like just an in general like end of days type thing that could happen or has already happened. Who wants to go next?
I'm Darian.
I'll go next.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so for those who don't know, there's this website called, the name of the website keeps changing, but it's called the SCP Foundation, where it's like a collaborative writing thing where they make like cryptids and like urban fantasy stuff. And so one of their apocalypse stories is where the sun just starts liquefying every living creature that the sunlight or moonlight hits.
I'm sorry, what?
So like if you're outside in the sun, you just liquefy and you become this.
Why?
Hear me out.
Okay,
Hear
and
me
I
out.
thought mine was
You
bad.
need to listen. Okay, because when you liquefy, you're still alive, and you just merge in with like all the other liquefied people and become a big blob.
So it's like
So-
a crummier version of the Borg from Star Trek?
Exactly. Except everyone.
Why would you want
You can still
single-mindedness?
talk, you can still think.
That's-
Everyone's having a good time. No one dies.
You are a
That's so
liquid
bizarre.
flesh Borg.
You can't,
Yes.
I know this.
And, like-
You're not even safe at night because the moonlight is just reflected sunlight.
And so like all the survivors are like hiding in caves, but like if you it's not like zombies where they eat you and you die. You just become part of the happy blob.
So it's either conformity or return to monkey. Got it.
that's horrible.
That sounds kind of terrible.
I think it's pretty good.
Okay, Nathan.
Yeah, I'll go next. I chose the Mad Max sort of universe. Now, here's the thing with Mad Max. There's 4 Mad Max movies, and each one is basically a completely different like thing happening scenario, I guess. Like you have Fury Road, which I'm sure everyone here knows when they think of Mad Max. It's Fury Road, and I mean that is sort of definitely what I'm mostly going for, because that is the post-apocalyptic angle where it's just desert and cars. However, in the original Mad Max, the with Mel Gibson, especially the very first one before like Tina Turner and Beyond Thunderdome, which is awesome, by the way. That's also up there. You sort of have like the kind of Fallout kind of world, but it's still cool because it's Mad Max. But with Mad Max 1, they have motorcycle gangs. And those motorcycles are so cool. When I watched that movie, it awakened something in me. So yeah, I guess my ideal apocalypse is one where I just get to drive around forever in a barren
Guys,
wasteland.
so open road, roving gangs of bikers and stuff. All right, Tony, what do you got for us?
Okay, so my ideal apocalypse. I'm a big zombie fan. And I feel
Walking
like
Dead.
out of like any apocalypse, I feel like the zombie apocalypse would be the easiest one to survive if we had to pick like.
Strongly disagree.
Yeah, I think we.
What else is worse?
I,
Like what could be?
It's like at least I won't liquefy like when
Yeah,
the
you-
sun
you- I
comes
mean,
out.
The difference is when you're a liquid, you're alive.
That's
but what
not,
kind of
that's
life
still
is that?
You're
Wait,
still.
what?
You don't like have to kill your family because they're trying to eat you.
Well, here's the
Yeah.
thing. Okay, so the reason why The Walking Dead is because not only would I want to be in a zombie apocalypse, but at the same time, it's like out of every like zombie like show or like scenario, the Walking Dead would probably be the best one because the zombies are slow. The biggest con about it is that the zombies only have one weakness, and that's the head. But I
That
feel like
it's
that's
also very
like,
depressing.
Yeah, if you're lame.
but you know, I I feel like it's a good trade-off though. You know,
What's the point
it's like
of living in a post-apocalypse if you're just trying to go back to a normal life? There's no such thing as a normal life anymore.
I mean,
Because you've just been living it through
rebuild.
what's basically hell.
you rebuild. You start new
What-
though. You start anew.
But what's
Or
the
you could
point?
have
You've
fun,
lived
like,
through a
at
bunch of
worst, these
trauma.
Zombies are just pathetic. Like you
But
can
is
do
that
whatever
is
you
that
want.
fun though?
I think
Okay.
that would be fun. Like
All
the
right.
zombie apocalypse happened right now. I feel like would be a fun time trying to survive with my friends.
Okay.
I might be a little depressed later on when a couple of them die.
Okay, not to cut you off or anything. Let's hear what Eric has to say.
My choice was Splatoon.
Wait, what?
Splatlands.
Wait. Does Splatoon count as an apocalypse?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's post-apocalypse. Humanity is dead and gone. Through
What?
some
What?
insane series of events, aquatic life has taken over. Okay. So it works out like humans make this cool memory glass that stores humanity memories, and the main memory they had was of the sky. Eventually, humanity dies out for good. Squids and like octopuses and all types of fish start eating this glass,
And they
and
just
they're
evolve?
like, man, we have humanity memories now, and start to evolve like humans did, and they want to see the sky, and they're developing a weakness to water and the. But like most of Splatoon is just really cool sports. But it still has insane capitalism. Like, insane capitalism is still there. But you also get to go in really cool blood sports. There's this entire thing called the Great Turf War. And Inklings thought, that was so cool. Let's do this every day. And they decided to
Okay.
do it every day.
I can't argue with that.
Okay.
One of my favorite
uh,
tidbits is, oh, not bad.
Yeah, so, okay, just before we wrap up, let's take a consensus on who had the best option here.
I think Eric.
You won't die immediately, so I vote
I
for
mean,
me.
you got,
It's
yeah,
just
you got
fun
me. Okay.
If I'm not allowed to
Yeah.
yeah. myself,
Yeah.
Nathan.
Yeah,
I'd have to say, yeah, Nathan or Eric, and
I mean,
See,
yeah, because no one wants to live in a zombie universe. No one wants to
That's
get turned
fine.
into a blob.
no one
That's
wants to die
insane.
immediately.
Here's-
Come
Modern
on,
picture
I'm
my
sorry.
big thing though,
Yeah,
like, are
but
we
at
kinda,
least
like,
you have
being
time to
human?
enjoy life before it ends.
If we had Splatoon with motorcycles,
Splatoon
Okay.
4.
just cover the whole desert.
Oh, God, that'd be amazing.
Goo.
Okay.
Okay, anyways, that's all the time we have for today. Next, Nikki takes us back into the world of Fire Emblem to explain its very complicated lore. All systems go. We'll be right back.
Another Fire Emblem video from Nikki? Sign me up. Let's check it out.
Welcome to part 3 of my Sacred Stones Iron Man, where one mistake can ruin everything. Previously, Erica has gotten wildly derailed from her original task of visiting Roston, while Ephraim is still out there trying to find a personality. We stabbed a Spanish guy and recruited a misogynist, which are both typical for the series. These next few chapters have a lot of ground to cover, so let's begin. In chapter 14, Johanna is under attack, and we need to back them up. Roaming around the field is Renak, who will steal from 2 chests and then leave unless we manage to recruit him. Renak fills the Fire Emblem archetype of a mercenary that you do actually need to pay quite a bit of money in order to recruit. But with Renak, you can get him for free if you talk to him with Laerachel, because why would we fairly compensate our workers? We're in a capitalist society. Renak has a member card, which is an item we need to access secret shops that have very valuable and expensive items, and there just so happens to be one in this chapter. Oh yeah, Gilliam had a near-death experience because he missed an 85%, but then he dodged a 73, so it kind of balances out. There were also definitely a bunch more near-death experiences on this map. I think Lute almost died like 4 times, but no actual casualties. And then there's the boss, Carlisle, who has a wind sword. This weapon is a physical attack up close, which has a high crit rate, but a low damage magic attack from 2 tiles away. So I started to chip away at him safely with ranged attacks so that I didn't instantly lose any of my units to a critical. I was fast forwarding through it on my my totally real Game Boy when Garcia got a lucky crit and one-shot him. The only thing I really wanted from the secret shop was an ocean seal, but I also picked up a lockpick, a couple of physics staves, and a bunch of killer weapons while I was there. Chapter 15 has a lot going on. First of all, the 2 bosses are extremely major antagonists, Kalik and Volter, and both of them have valuable items. The Hoplon Guard protects whoever is holding it from critical hits. Enemies will have a 0 crit chance against them at all times. And the Feli Shield can make a flyer not take extra damage from arrows like they normally do, which covers up one of their biggest weaknesses. Second, Ephraim appears on turn 3 and joins us for realsies, alongside 2 new faces. Doisel fills the Fire Emblem archetype of an enemy general who betrays his country to join you, which is very different from the Wyvern thing, I promise. Noel is one of the few playable dark mages in the series, and though his stats aren't great, he can immediately be promoted into a summoner, which can make little 1 HP minions every single turn, and they make really good decoys to draw fire away from your real units. Third, sand! It's everywhere! Get used to it. Sand in Fire Emblem will slow down any units that isn't a mage or a flyer, which I can assure you is a super fun game mechanic. However, as a Fire Emblem tradition for desert levels, there are all kinds of treasures hidden in the sand that you can pick up if you end your turn in that area. These items include the Silver Card, which cuts shop prices in half, Metis' Tome, which will increase the growth rates of whoever you give it to, and the Swift Souls, that will permanently increase one unit's movement by 2 tiles. This map is so chaotic, and there is so much happening that I can't even begin to address all of it. Cormac almost gets murked by a Devil Axe, a group of reinforcements from the southwest nearly kills a whole group of my units, but Doisel manages to distract all of them with his high defense. I have Joshua duel Kalik to death despite the scary crit chance because he's the best suited to the job and also narrative relevance. And then a number of my units, including Ephraim and Erica, all gang up on Volter and beat the snot out of him. You know, like the one scene from JoJo Part 5 that was a meme for a while where, you know, the 3 guys are... You know what I'm talking about. Ephraim shares that he made it to the capital of Grotto and defeated their leader, Emperor Vigard, which should theoretically end the war. However, there's another factor. There's a character named Leon, the Prince of Grotto and friend of the twins, who I neglected to mention until now because I have no foresight. He's gentle and caring, but fears that he's not fit to be the Emperor one day. In Erica's route, we briefly saw him talking about how he, like Adam Jensen, never asked for any of this. In Ephraim's route, however, he claims that he orchestrated this entire war from the shadows, and talks about how awesome it is to be evil. Like, man, he loves being evil. We also learned that Emperor Vigard died like a year ago, and Leon tapped into something called the Darkstone to bring him back. It's seen that Vigard isn't really alive, but he's just a puppet that follows Leon's orders. Imagine Pinocchio, but instead of becoming a real boy, he becomes a horrific affront to nature. Later, I give Erica Metis' Tome, and I give Joshua the boots, and in this game, you don't even need to steal them off of Shura's warm corpse. Now that both the twins' bracelets are here, they decide to go get the Sacred Stone of Renee, but Renee Castle is currently controlled by Orson, who has been ignoring a country ravaged by war to rewatch Full Metal Alchemist with his wife. They really build up the scene better in the original series. You spend multiple episodes with Nina first, before she and the dog actually...
After this break, we'll take another crack at the corrections game. ASG will be right back.
All of you have kept me from spreading a lot of misinformation online, but I can't be wrong all the time, right? Welcome back to the correction game, everyone. I'm here with my lovely contestants, Nick, Jenny, Joe, and Sophia, with Brody as my scorekeeper. The rules of the game, for those that have not joined us before, are pretty simple. I have a stack of statements about various fictional media, you know, movies, TV shows, things of that nature. All of them have something in them that is incorrect. It is up to our contestants to correct me. They can interrupt me whenever they want, and I may ask them to be more specific, but they should definitely just take their wild guesses. And this time, actually, not all of them have something wrong in it. Some of these questions are actually totally correct. And if you think that is the case, then you can say so. But, and of course, if you're correct, you get a point as normal. If you're wrong about that, though, you lose a point. So you can't just say it first thing and get it out of the way. You have to actually be sure about it. With that, are our contestants ready?
I just want to get on the board.
Well, you'll have your chance with this first question about hit 2006 film Night at the Museum. Museum security guard, let me start that over. Museum security guard Larry Daly, as played by Ben Stiller, must tend to the various exhibits that come to life. This includes a T-Rex skeleton named Rexy, a mischievous monkey named Dexter, a miniature cowboy named Octavius who was rivals with a Roman general named Jebediah, and a wax statue of Theodore Roosevelt. Nick.
I think he switched the names of the 2 soldiers, of the Roman general and the cowboy.
That is 100% correct. I switched their names around. The cowboy is Jebediah, the general is Octavius. Moving on. Shrek!
Oh no.
While the Shrek movies have very important and meaningful messages, most people remember the films for the memes. Examples include usage of the song All Star by Smash Mouth, the carriage scene where Shrek yells at Donkey for being annoying, and Lord Fuck. Yes, Joe?
The carriage scene was not in Shrek 1.
I didn't say specifically it was in Shrek 1. I was more so talking about the series. I said the Shrek movies.
Oh, okay. I'll take that one.
Good catch, though. Good catch.
Yeah, I'll take that one.
And the last one being Lord Farquaad saying that he is willing to sacrifice as many people as needed in order to save Princess Fiona. Nick.
That's the scene from Monsters, Inc. I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die.
No, it's some of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to
Marketplace.
Well.
Markiplier and Lord Farquaad.
E.
Any of the guesses,
Okay.
everyone? Rack your brains. All right, I'm going to take that as a no. All of this is correct. These are all pretty well-known memes.
I forgot that was a thing.
I forbore.
Yeah.
You forgot. That's the whole point of this edition of the correction game.
That was a
Four.
thing.
That's what makes it special. This next one's about Devil May Cry. Maybe you'll remember the gimmick this time. The nastiest of Dante's enemies often turn into weapons for him to use. Cavalier Angelo from DMC5 becomes a motorcycle. The serpent demon Echidna from DMC4 turns into a pair of gauntlets called Beowulf, and Nevin from DMC3, based on the Irish folklore of the Leon Sheed, turns into a guitar.
I've never heard of a guitar being in DMC ever.
No, Nevin does turn into a guitar and it is a weapon. Nick.
I don't think the motorcycle one from the second part is true.
There is a motorcycle as a weapon in DMC5.
Can I make
Yes, Sophia?
Is all of this correct?
Can I make a guess?
So I guess Sophia has negative 1 point.
Yeah, I know.
Can I make a second guess?
Sure.
The gauntlets are not true.
What about it? Can you be more specific?
I don't think the
just
name is
doing-
Beowulf.
That's correct.
That was literally the only possible thing you could have said. You
Well,
just
no,
did
it could also be the
process
serpent.
of elimination.
It could also be the serpent who didn't get it. So.
It is a gauntlet weapon in DMC4, but the name of it is Gilgamesh. The DMC3 gauntlet weapon is called Beowulf.
Oh.
Moving
I'd
on.
rather just have negative points than have 0.
This next one's about Game of Thrones. We're going to talk about Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, based on George R.R. Martin's novel series of the same name, is an 8-season fantasy drama television series. It is a series full of political intrigue, alliances, betrayals, and illegitimate children for some reason. Jenny.
Was there more than 8 seasons?
I don't believe so. I believe it was 8 seasons. Yes, Nick.
The original series wasn't called Game of Thrones.
That is correct. The first novel is
It was called Skyrim.
No.
Oh, dang
I'm
it.
tempted to not give you the point because of that, but
That's
I'm going to
fair.
give it to you.
Don't give it to him.
No.
Might as well just take it
That's
away.
not how the game. I can't just give points to whoever
Just
I
take
want.
it away at this point.
Can I please?
That's not how it works.
Hate it.
The first novel in the series was called A Game of Thrones, but the novel series itself is called A Song of Ice and Fire.
That's so dumb.
Oh,
That
I
is
love that
really
album.
dumb.
I'm not calling you dumb, Nikki. I'm just calling the series dumb.
Okay, we're going to talk about Splatoon now. The
Okay.
lore of Splatoon is weirdly deep. The cat who judges the winner of each match, Judd, is a 12,000-year-old being, though only 2,000 if you don't count cryogenic stasis. He unfroze around the time that squids evolved into inklings and octopi evolved into octarians, who fought in turf wars against each other for territory, but though since then turf wars have become a competitive sport as opposed to actual war. Sophia.
Is all of it correct?
That is correct.
Hey, look
All
who
of these
has
are
0
correct.
on
Don't
the
play
board
that buzzer
again.
sound. She earned this. So Sophia's at 0 points.
I know you were looking at
Congratulations,
Eric for that
Sophia.
One.
I wasn't looking at Eric. I can't see him.
I was.
Teen Titans, everyone. We're going to talk about Teen Titans now.
Okay,
Now
I'm ready.
looking for Eric.
The Teen Titans are a group of teenage heroes based in Jump City, California, but they aren't actually all that unique. There are also other groups of Titans based in other cities, including Titans East, North, South, and West, as well as the Wild Titans and the Temporary Titans. Sophia?
Were the Titans not based in California?
Incorrect. They were based in California.
They are based in
Nick.
California.
Why would there be a Titans West if the teen ones are already there?
That is a good question. There is Titans West. That is a real
they
thing,
in
but you
Hawaii?
do raise a good point. Anyone else? Joe?
Yeah, I'll take a crack shot at it.
Sure.
Is there no Titan South?
There is Titans South.
What?
Nick,
Titans Temporary feels like a weird name.
that weirdly is real. That is a real
I
thing.
hate DC writers.
Any other guesses?
No.
Jenny?
They're not all teenagers.
I mean, at least in the Teen Titans base. I'm not sure about the other ones, but that wasn't really what I was going for.
Good thought.
I'm going to call this one a wash. The Teen Titan teams that isn't real is the Wild Titans.
I was pretty sure that you said
it's the
Wild
Wild
Titans. I
Kratts,
was pretty
of
sure you
course.
said Wild Titans, but I wasn't sure if I was just imagining that, to be honest.
Okay, we're going to try to get through as many as we can. We're going to talk about Danny Phantom.
Okay, I'm ready.
Young Danny Fenton, he was just 14 when a lab accident turned him into a half-ghost, giving him powers like walking through walls and flying. He uses this power to protect his hometown of Amity Park, though he cannot let his ghost hunter parents know about his endeavors. I think it looked like Joe was like half raising his hand first.
Are you sure he was 14?
It's literally in the theme song.
Well, no, because I thought I would hear it different. I thought I heard it differently in the theme song.
Tell it to the judge.
Sophia.
I don't remember his parents being ghost hunters.
They are ghost hunters.
They are ghost
That's like a
hunters.
major
Yeah,
crux.
like,
Of,
see the
that's
They
a
are
major
ghost
crux of
hunters.
the plot. Anyone else?
It's true.
Is that your guess?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, you're right. It's all true. All of it's accurate. Team Fortress 2 is our next category.
Uh-oh.
What is it?
Team Fortress 2.
Overwatch.
TF2 has an extremely colorful cast of characters. For example, the medic is a German doctor who surgically split his soul into 9 parts and sold one of those 9 parts to the devil for a pen.
That's kind of camp.
What?
Sorry.
The mysterious Pyro thinks that they are frolicking through a happy meadow when they are actually committing violent atrocities, and the Heavy, who became a mercenary to provide for his family, despite the fact that his minigun costs $400,000 to fire for 12 seconds.
It actually fires for 11 seconds.
I mean, it fires for a long time, but it does take that much money to fire for that long. Sophia.
Oh, the thing about the mercenary was wrong.
Which one?
They're all mercenaries.
They're all mercenaries.
Oh.
Joe, were you raising your hand?
I don't think he sold one of his, like, the medic didn't sell, like, one part of his soul to the devil.
That did happen in the comics, actually. Yes, Nick.
I don't think Heavy has family to help save.
He does have.
Dude.
Okay, any more guesses, or else I'm going to call this a wrap. No, okay, it's all true! It's all true Team Fortress 2 lore. It's all accurate. You're all failures.
Yeah.
Who's the winner? It's Nick. Congratulations, you had like 2 points.
Yay!
Good job. That's all the time we've allotted for our clownery today. Now we'll dive back into the world of Overwatch, but Seth will be telling us about memories from the first game and saying farewell to it now that the servers are shut down. Let's take a look.
So, Overwatch. This is the first one. After being called a dead game for so long, it's now actually dead. Blizzard shut down the servers to turn it into Overwatch 2. It's basically the same game, but now they're actually doing things better. Sorta. But now that we've got the brand new sequel, I think it'd be nice to take a look back at the good and bad memories of Overwatch 1. I got Overwatch pretty early on in its lifetime. The game was fully released on May 24th of 2016, and I got it on June 22nd that same year. This was actually the first game I played in an online setting against real people. I didn't grow up with things like Halo or Call of Duty, so this was my genuine first experience with a multiplayer shooter. And I honestly really loved it. Heck, this was the game that made me finally get Xbox Live, so I could play it and I started to finally figure out how internet connections work on my console. I know I was definitely too old not to know how that works at that point, but shut up. I was honestly addicted. I'd never gotten to play a game like this before, so it was all a brand new experience for me. I remember competitive mode was something I was super into the idea of, but, well, I wasn't exactly as good as I wanted to be. Still though, I was there for the very first competitive season, and kept up with it for as long as I could. Though most seasons it would just be me trying to rank up, but I would get mad because I was a healer, and none of my teammates ever seemed to understand that you can't expect me to heal you if you go straight into the enemy team by yourself. There is no amount of healing in this world that will fix how damaged your brain is. Let's just move on to something more happy, okay? Okay, you know what? It. I need to say this. This version of Symmetra was genuinely the worst thing they ever put into this game. Who in their right mind thought this was okay? Her gun not only locks onto you, but once it's on you, you will never...
This is an interesting episode.
This is very interesting. I did not. That correction game was. It's in the theme song. Yo, Danny Phantom. He was just 14. It's the first success. I don't know what to tell you. That was rough.
I was really thinking Heavy didn't have a family though. He was just doing it for fun.
That would be way more convenient.
I know Sophia was doing awful though.
That was
just the worst.
It was horrendous. I don't think I've seen a worse performance.
Oh, there she goes.
I felt
I
something.
still maintain that Liquid Gooey Apocalypse is the best one.
See, I don't know how to feel about that.
It beats a Meteor at least.
Does it?
Yeah.
What do you do? What's the consciousness of a liquid?
Okay, so you just kind of like turn into like this jello-y gooey stuff,
Right.
and then you crawl together until you meet another one, and you form like this amalgamation of like a bunch of
Sounds like a metaphor for just life. in general.
exactly.
That's crazy.
And then there's like survivors that like hide in caves and like don't let the sunlight touch them, and it's a whole thing. But unlike zombies, when the goo gets you, you don't die. You just become the goo.
You just become.
And the goo loves being out in the sun, so it's fine.
Maybe being goo isn't that bad.
Maybe.
It's also He-Man's.
It's He-Man's 40th birthday. This is very important. I got my He-Man shirt. I got my He-Man socks. It's been a good birthday, I
Question
think.
is, can he beat Goku?
I think He-Man could beat Goku in a fight.
I don't.
And
think
I'd
so.
be willing to defend this.
I don't think
For
he can
one,
beat Goku.
He-Man has a sword and Goku does not have a sword. For two, He-Man has all the power in the universe. So canonically, he is the most powerful man in the universe.
But Goku can turn blonde, which is.
He-Man is already blonde.
You know what? You got me on that one. I can't even lie. He starts off blonde. I wish I knew more about He-Man. I would argue against it, but
Oh, if we've got time, I can go
just
all
go
the way into the lore.
completely into detail.
But I don't know if we have enough time for that.
I don't know about that. Can we talk about how good Nikki's Fire Emblem videos have been?
Oh, yeah. Well, unfortunately not, because that's it for this week's episode of ASG. Make sure to come back next week at 9 for all new content.
And don't forget to follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, and TikTok to stay in the know. I'm Dalen Brown.
And I'm Darian Yoder. All systems go, signing off.